welcome to this edition of Diaspora Central. I am Gil Ingles, and today with me in the studio it's someone that definitely, a voice that definitely is very well known in the Houston or in the Gulf region. She goes by the name of Lolade. Lola.
Hi, how are you doing?
Welcome to Diaspora Central.
Thank you for having me.
No, indeed. It's a pleasure to have you here. Yeah. So, finally, a new single.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's been a long time coming.
Long time coming. Well, I mean, but you know that for an artist, though, especially during these days, it's a good thing to actually take this long to put together a body of work, and especially for an artist of your caliber, because you're not just getting beats together and putting vocals to it. You're actually composing music.
It takes a lot of work.
Right.
A lot of time, a lot of people, a lot of money.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's been a couple of years since my last single, and I had an EP that dropped a few years ago, but, this is more of an intentional body of work. So the single, we'll talk about the single that's out right now, but it's part of an album that's going to be dropping in the summertime.
Okay. Ooh, so we got good promises here. we now you got us anticipating.
Okay. Do anticipate.
Yeah,
it's
expectations. No, and that's a good thing, especially when we're talking about that kind of music, because as you know, for those of us who have a little bit of an artistic vein, we like to actually sometimes hear that good stuff, that feel good stuff, that timeless stuff, and you kind of go there. But everyone knows that doesn't just start like that, right? Sometimes it's introduced into you based on the way you were raised, based on the way you were brought up. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
All right.
Right? So we want to kind of go back to the beginning of Lolade. So, country of origin.
Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Nigeria know they carry last.
Yeah.
Always got to rep my country.
Okay. But how do you guys say Ijari in Yoruba? How do you say Ijarimwa, Ijaribumwa, Ijaribu?
What are you trying to say?
I'm Nigerian.
I am Nigerian. Nijanimi.
Oh, Nijanimi. Nijanimi. Okay, Nijanimi. There you go.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Nijanimi.
You got it.
That means I'm Nigerian. Wow. And how do you say I'm African? So that should be Afro-Nimi, right? Nimi, I guess, would mean
yes.
I am, right?
I'm trying to think if there is a way, maybe a slang, because Nigeria is like slang of Nigerian.
Right, exactly.
If there's like a slang version of African, if there is, I can't think of it.
You can't think of it. Okay. But so what language was that you just taught me?
That was Yoruba.
That's Yoruba. Okay. So you of Yoruba heritage.
Yes, I
Okay.
am.
So what city or what town?
So I was born in Oyo State.
Okay.
There is a city or a town called Ogbomosho.
Okay.
In Oyo State. Very small. Well, I mean, it's developed definitely since I was born there. But I was born there, and then I lived in different places. I lived in Ibadan. I lived in where else did we live? Ila.
Okay.
Ila Orangun.
Yeah.
And then Lagos for just a little bit before coming to the U.S.
Oh, okay. So how long did you stay in Nigeria?
I was there till I was 8 years old.
Oh, okay. So
Yes.
so then you came in pretty young also.
I was pretty young. I was very young.
Have you gone back since?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so you've been back there
I
since.
still have family there. Still go back for weddings, visits.
Got you.
Kinds of things.
Okay, so you got, but you have good memories, I guess, of your infancy there.
Somewhat.
Yeah.
I always say my memory is a bit shaky just in general.
Okay.
There's a lot that I don't remember, a lot that I wish I remembered more of.
Okay.
But as far as the culture, I thank my mother for keeping us in the culture, even here.
Okay.
I still speak Yoruba only because she spoke Yoruba to us.
Okay.
Unlike other families, they were around at the time where the parents were trying to assimilate the kids.
Right.
No, you must speak English all the time. My mother makes sure, and I don't even know if it was something that was like super intentional, but we just always spoke Yoruba.
Got you.
Around the house, and we were in a very tight-knit Nigerian community. This was in Ohio when we first came.
Oh, okay. What city in Ohio?
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati, Ohio. All right. So there's a big Nigerian community out there.
I wouldn't, maybe not big, but it's very close.
Very close. Okay.
Yeah,
oh, got you.
I mean,
I
have aunties and uncles that will forever be my aunties and uncles.
There you go.
From there, even though it's been years since I've been there, but
yeah.
We were still raised very much Nigerian, even here.
Got you.
Yeah.
Okay. So you come from a big family?
Big extended family.
Big extended, okay.
My immediate family, just 3 of us, me and 2 sisters.
Okay.
But lots of aunts and uncles.
Yeah, you can share with us if you don't mind your parents' names and the sibling names, and
okay.
Give them a shout out.
Shout out.
Let's go.
My dad Joe.
Okay.
My father's Joseph. My mother has passed. She passed a few years ago, several years ago. She's Eunice.
May she rest in peace.
Amen. Eunice Mofoluake Omotoyosi Akombi Ni Olowude. My sisters, Nike, Bola. Nike is in Ghana right now.
Okay.
She lives there now with her husband. Bola's in Jersey, my East Coast partner. I used to live on the East Coast as well.
Okay, what city? What
Philly.
town? Philly, okay.
Philly.
Oh, Pennsylvania.
Yes,
all right.
yes.
Yeah.
So, my family is, my dad is still in Ohio, so we're all kind of spread around now.
Okay. Yeah, I'm also from the East Coast, Washington, D.C. So we went through Philly several times, especially on our way to New York.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we did a lot of those breakfast in D.C. and lunch in New York and then dinner back in D.C. or sleep back in D.C., right?
I love
and
DC.
vice versa. Yeah.
D.C. is one of my favorite cities.
Yeah, Mid-Atlantic region is a very beautiful a very beautiful area, in all honesty. Yeah. So you at 8 years old, you guys leave Nigeria now. Does the entire family leave or just
so
part of the family?
First to come was my sister, the oldest one. So we came. We really came due to an accident. She was in a fire accident.
Oh wow!
That burned a bunch of her, a lot of her body.
Oh man, sorry.
And thank God she made it. She's still alive. She's a doctor today because of that.
Wow.
So we came for her treatment. There's a burns hospital in Ohio.
Okay.
It's like the best children's burns hospital.
Gotcha.
That's how we ended up there.
Wow.
So my dad and her came first.
Okay.
And sister. And then I came with my mom afterwards.
Okay. Yeah. So as you arrive in the U.S., of course, I mean, regardless of the situation going on, what was your first impression of America?
Oh man, it was pretty bad, man. Kids were mean to me. I mean,
in what aspects?
Just appearance, language. We spoke English in Nigeria.
Right.
But we spoke British English.
Right.
So I came here and, think as a child, I didn't think it was going to be, there was going to be a language barrier. Because I know how to speak English. It's a different English. It's a different English. So I didn't understand. I just remember everybody talked so fast.
Yeah.
And they didn't understand me. And I would always have to say, excuse me.
Yeah.
It was hard.
Yeah.
And then, just the questions that kids have.
Right.
They would see my dad. My dad has tribal marks.
Gotcha.
So, that was so strange to them. They would ask, did he get in a fight with a lion? Did you guys live in trees? Do you live in huts? Do you have giraffes in your backyard? That kind of stuff.
Yeah. So it kind of goes to show probably also that you were probably in an area in which I guess Africans were just starting to populate.
Yes. Yes. They weren't used to.
Right.
They weren't used to that.
Yeah.
The whole African booty scratcher thing. I went through it.
I haven't heard that term in a long time.
Man, we live in a time now where being African is cool and it's like this unique thing, proud thing.
Took a minute to get there, didn't it?
Took a long time
right?
to get here. And I think it really is. I mean, taking it back to the music, we're here because of music.
Right.
Music is this universal language that, can reach anybody,
right.
Whether it's through the dance or through the melody or
right.
through just an emotion.
Right.
Now that African music is spreading so much faster because of the internet and everything, now people are reaching the culture through the music. Hey, the music is really cool.
Right.
Then they're more accepting of the culture.
And for you here, as of course you hear, you're different. You received and perceived differently. Yeah. How did what was your bridge to, I guess, to create those friendships? Was it music, arts, cooking, culture? What was it?
It was music.
All
along. All along, it was music. Okay. I was telling my friend the other day that I remember when I was in middle school, high school. I remember I would go to school and come home, and you know how you have morning breath in the morning because your mouth has been closed.
Right.
I would come home from school and my breath would stink because I would not have opened my mouth all day. It was like I would have morning breath after school. That's how quiet I was. Yeah. And that's how much I didn't have friends.
So there was, and I guess a little bit of anxiety and probably fear also of maybe expressing yourself and have to be asked what you're saying. And right?
Yeah, yeah. And just I was even naturally shy. I'm still a shy person. Yeah. So it wasn't until I started, I got in the choir in maybe 8th or 9th grade. I got in the choir, and then I had a choir teacher who noticed that I had a very good ear for music. So then he started making me section leader. He started giving me responsibilities, and that's how I started getting to know people. Okay. Now,
do you remember the teacher's name?
Mr. Bassoon.
Mr. Bassoon.
He had an instrument name.
Okay.
His name was Mr. Bassoon. Yes, and he was the choir director.
And what school was that, if you still remember?
This was Walnut Hills High School, one of the best high schools in the nation, actually.
Okay.
It ranks high every year. Yeah. Walnut Hills High School in Cincinnati, Ohio.
All right.
Go Eagles.
There you go.
Yes. Yeah. So I owe a lot to him because I think he really, he got me out of my shell. Right. And there was nothing that was going to get me out of my shell except for music.
Yeah. There you go. And that's definitely a good thing. But with that, let's go ahead and take our first break because after all, we've really got to figure it out whether you are shy or just an introvert. So let's take a very quick look at some of Lolade's visuals to kind of determine that is she shy or just an introvert. We'll be right back.
You are a symphony. Nothing compares to this. Yeah. Darling, you shine so bright. You get better with time. And after a million years, I hope you'll still be mine. Anywhere you go, you go, you go, you go. Yeah, I will follow, 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 follow. Anywhere you go, you go, you go, you go. There I go, follow, 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 follow. Ìwọ ni mo fẹ́ títí ayé mi. Ìkẹ́ mi jẹ́ n bá ẹ kalẹ̀. Forever and ever, I'll never leave you. Àyànfẹ́ mi, ẹ̀yin fún jọ̀wọ́, àdúmàdán. Darling, you shine so bright. You get better with time. After a million years, I hope you'll still be mine. Anywhere you go, you go, you go, you go.
are back. We have just finished taking a look at one of those bodies of work that actually will help us determine whether Lolade is an introvert or a shy person. If you are to ask me, I would consider her an introvert, but let's go follow. It's hot.
Yes.
Yeah. Announcing the new Lolade.
Yes.
The non-shy Lolade.
I'm so when you see the video, you will see it is a very introspective song.
Mm-hmm.
It's I've released songs before that were more on the danceable side of things.
Right.
This album is me staying true to myself.
Got you.
And first and foremost, I'm a songwriter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a songwriter. So a lot of my songs are very, very introspective and can reach to the heart because they come from the heart.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm an introvert with extrovert tendencies.
There you go.
That's what I'll say.
An introvert with extrovert tendencies, not a shy person with extrovert tendencies.
Not really.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say shy anymore.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the conclusion that we kind of wanted to get into, because one thing is for sure, one can tell by the way you write, by the way you sing, by the way you feel your lyrics, your expressions show a lot of soul in your music, a lot of feeling, right? And is that what are you tapping into as you're doing that? I kind of like to get into the root of where that is coming from, right? Because there's always a longing for something, right? So what is Lolade tapping into when she's getting to that point in which inspiration is definitely there, like at 100%? What is she, tapping into?
I think the root of it is to be understood.
Mm-hmm.
We all have this desire in all of our relationships, even in our relationship with ourselves,
Right.
to deeply know and deeply understand each other. So, from my perspective, it's whatever song I'm writing, it's trying to get an accurate representation of that thought, that feeling.
Okay.
So that it can be properly understood.
So you basically doing soul searching. You're searching within self to understand self.
Absolutely.
Right.
That's the first step.
Got you. And what today I guess most people consider to be self-love, right? Once you understand yourself, you're much better able to love yourself.
Yeah.
Now, in the family, was there anyone that is also musically inclined or inclined to art?
Not outrightly, but I mean, my mother, she didn't have the best singing voice, but my God, she loved to sing.
Yeah.
She sang, before she passed, me and my sisters actually got a bunch of recordings of her singing these Sunday school songs from Nigeria. So within the Nigerian community I was telling you about in Cincinnati, people know her as, if you need a song for anything,
your mom was the person.
She can sing from morning to the next 24 hours.
Right.
So she had a endless well of songs in her. She can sing continuously.
That's beautiful.
For 24 hours.
That's beautiful.
And she loved to sing.
Yeah. And do you think that may have played a part in your inspiration also for music? I mean, of course, aside from the fact that, that's the one thing that actually ends up connecting you to the rest of the world, right? That makes Lolade the Lolade, right?
Yeah, I didn't know it then. I think I'm only, coming to realize the link between the two.
Yeah, I think we all do that.
Grow older.
Yeah, I think we all do that. It takes time to get to it. Yeah. But so eventually, you have Mr. Busum also, who's a major inspiration. Who else in your trajectory or your journey to today ended up being someone who played an important role in your musicianship? Or maybe just even on your being?
I'm thinking about that. I have to give credit to my university. I went to a tiny little school called Wilberforce University.
Okay.
in Ohio, and I was before that.
Mm-hmm.
I was I went to an all white church,
Okay.
and then my high school was very mixed.
Okay.
So I didn't really learn and get entrenched into black culture till I
Gotcha.
went to Wilberforce. Wilberforce is an HBCU, historically
Okay.
black college
Okay.
and university, and it's very church oriented, is very music oriented.
Got you. So, which churches did you go to? Which one was the all-white church that you went? What denomination was it?
It was
Do
a
you-
Baptist church.
Baptist. Okay.
So we were brought. My family was brought over here. They helped with the transition. The Southern Baptist Church.
Southern Baptist Church. All right, and that's good to know because those are shout outs. Those are some of those what I consider to be community pillars that even as we as diasporans then establish ourselves should continue to support because they already have the vein that allows them to support other newcomers and assist people of refugees, sometimes newcomers, whatever the circumstances may be, they're always helpful, and those are things that we kind of like to do. So you go to this HBCU, and they definitely kind of.
And I said, "Oh, okay, black people." Okay, it was a training ground. It was I just learned so much.
Right.
And just like in high school, I was in multiple choirs. In college, I was in multiple choirs: gospel choir, concert choir. So I learned those rich African American choral traditions. We sang a lot of choral music, and then I was in a gospel choir, which was more fun and more lively and improvisation and all of those things. So I mean, I wanted to be a music major. My mom said no, but every extra class I had was a music theory class.
Got you.
So then I started carrying over from high school. I learned a lot about music theory, like the science, the actual education behind music, and then at the same time the improvisational piece, that gospel choir piece, the freedom there. So I have to give a shout out to Big Una. They used to call me Little Una. Big Una Thompson.
Okay.
She was the dean of music, the head of the music department, for a lot of the time that I was at Wilberforce.
Okay.
Very instrumental.
Yeah.
She's passed now. I really didn't get to tell her that.
Right. Yeah, but well, I mean, there are still relatives, I'm sure, of hers that would appreciate that, right? Because it's a legacy, and not only that, you're continuing a legacy today, and has transcended what that nuclear family or that nucleus of that family used to be, right? And that's what's important. So, an African and Nigerian in Ohio, exposed now to both what we consider to be American cultures, right? I mean, initially to just white culture. Now you fully exposed to what black culture is. And of course, the world doesn't finish there because eventually, African culture is coming back into the mix of everything else now to reconnect things, because even African Americans also born and raised in this country, they're also trying to connect back to Africa. So at that point, what role are you kind of playing there?
Well, it felt like information overload to me at the time, because I have all this stuff in me. So I don't know how to answer that question. I think you mean currently?
No. Well, then and now, I guess what we're trying to get into is, okay, on that journey, there's always that point in time in which we start to feel that level of social responsibility falling upon our shoulders, right? Where we start to realize that, wait a second, okay, so aside from just being a friend and being able to do what I do best, I'm also serving the role of an ambassador of this, right? So to you, what was that role for you?
Well, I'll take it to continuing in my journey. I'll take it to Philly. So then after my college experience, I moved to Philly and lived there for 10 years.
Gotcha.
everybody knows Philly's rich history
Yes.
when it comes to soul music.
Yes.
And I was there at the right time because I got to experience that rich musical culture. Philly's Philly's a little New York. You know, there's always something going on.
Right.
And music is huge.
Indeed.
I mean, you go to a club or a bar that has live, like, jazz sessions every single night.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they do.
Yeah.
And this is not white people playing jazz like you
Right.
see a lot of in Houston.
Right.
I see a lot of that.
Right.
These are young, black men and women that have been doing this all their lives.
Right. Right.
I mean,
It's really a city tradition. To be honest with you, I think it's one of the most soulful cities in the East Coast.
It's an amazing
Truth be
place.
told, New York would be the showcase city. But if you
Right.
want the roots of things, definitely Philly would be the place.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And Philly and Philly folks will tell you that in a
Right.
second.
Yeah.
Like, don't get it
Yeah,
twisted.
yeah, that's
This is where it is.
Indeed, that's
Yeah.
that's pretty much the home of neo soul, right?
Yep,
What today
yes.
is known as neo soul. And talking about neo soul, I guess how would we classify Lolade's music? That
Okay.
would that be Afro neo soul? Where exactly do you fall?
I call it Afro-Soul.
Afro-Soul.
I call it Afro-Soul. And then jazz. I got a lot of my, my jazz instruction also in Philly and in school.
Yeah,
So I'll call it Afro-Soul. I call it Afro-Jazz. I
Okay.
have a bunch of jazz material, like straight jazz material that I'll release later. But yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So I think to really answer the question you asked before, living in Philly and being around that soul music
okay,
gave me a lot, but it also helped me to understand that I had something different,
got you.
that I had that African side. So I have that soul piece, but that's where I kind of started to realize, like, okay, I interpret music a little differently.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. So at that point, you started to own that portion in which, wait a second, there's actually value to my interpretation, to my
Yes.
understanding of this. Now, you said that you took a lot of music courses, but that was not your that was not your major.
It wasn't.
And was it your minor?
We didn't really have minors.
You didn't really your minor,
Wilberforce,
okay.
But
So
it might as well.
okay. So what was your major?
Psychology.
Psychology. Oh wow. Is that what you practice today still?
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
All right. So I guess I'm in a sit today, huh?
That's what people always say. So you're
Yeah.
reading my mind? No.
Yeah. No. But it is a good thing because I mean there's no better therapy than music, in my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So as you go in and you finally now you settle into this sound and you start to lean on that interpretation of yours and you start to accept the value of your interpretation. So you actually start to put out bodies of work. What was one of the first experiences in which you definitely decided that, or determined that, you know what, this is definitely something that I cannot let go. I gotta hold on to this and keep it with me.
I think it was when I had my first full set, my first performance in Philly.
Okay.
Ooh, at a place called, man, I can't remember the name of the place, but it
Okay.
was a museum that was like a mosaic. There was a lot of glass and mixed media pieces that
Yeah.
made up the building.
Do you remember the area where it is?
It was in South Philly on South
Okay.
Street, the infamous
Okay.
South Street.
Okay.
The name of the museum is not coming to me,
Okay.
but it was a very cool place.
Yeah.
And somehow, I don't even remember how, things just used to come to me in
Right.
Philly. I wouldn't even ask for it. And
Yeah.
somebody just be like, oh, you want to do this? I'm like,
There you
"Okay."
go.
So I got to do like a good set, a 30-minute set there.
Wow.
And that was the first time that, I was standing in front of people singing more than one song and having to carry a show.
Right.
And it was amazing. It was, I think that's when I realized, and I remember I wore, my Ankara top
Yeah.
with my vintage high-waisted tweed pants and, even the way I dressed back then and still now is
Right.
like this mixture. It's
Yeah.
got to be a little African in it.
Yeah.
And then it's got to be some like old, 60s soul. Like
Right.
I'm just attracted to those,
Yeah.
both of those things.
And in Philly, you're right at home with that because people still dress that way out there,
Yes.
right? Especially
Yes.
people that get on stages normally they still
Mm-hmm.
it's definitely one of those. But let's go and take another break and let's see do we have anything of yours live that we can actually showcase, of you doing anything live, any visuals of you doing anything live that we can showcase, or another music video, that'll be fine.
Oh,
Yeah?
yeah. We could show the dreams.
Okay,
video.
show the dreams. All right, so let's go into the dreams by Lolade right here on Diaspora Central.
Dream on, dreamer, dream on, dreamer. Don't you let the world tell you different. Oh my brother, oh my sister. Darkness covers, but light will find a way. Time again to go back to the place you began. Oh. Dreamer, dreamer, dreamer. Don't you let the world tell you different. Oh my brother, oh my sister. Darkness covers, but light will find a way. Time again to go back to the place you began. No, don't you die with dreams in your heart. In your heart, don't you die with dreams in your heart, in your heart. Oh, la 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 la. Oh my love, my sweet love, carry on, won't you carry on? Your fantasies, impossibilities. Darkness covers, but light will lead the way. Time again to go back to the place you began. No, don't you die with dreams in your heart, in your heart. Don't you die with dreams in your heart, in your heart. I don't wanna die with dreams inside. I'm not gonna die with dreams inside of me. Die with dreams
And we are back. If you have just tuned in, you are now joined to Diaspora Central with Gil Ingles, and our guest today, it's Lolade. She's a singer, songwriter, one of the most soulful Africans that not only is now gotten that essence of the East Coast of the Philly music, and she's soul music, I should say, and now she's bringing a portion of that also into the Gulf region. Lolade.
Great to be here, Gil.
You know what? Dreams. We all have them, right? We all have them. And very few of us get to materialize them. So let's start with the accolade, because I tend to always give someone an accolade when we do this program, because I think that it is necessary. The first time I saw you perform, you were actually on stage, I believe was a show either with Baba Tunde or something like that. And it was at, I think it was at the SET Institute, if I'm not mistaken. And I heard you. And within myself, I told myself, I was like, okay, that one right there is different. Yeah, it's got something, right? And I mean, you know that in the arts world, when we say it's got something, that is the it factor that right that you can put your finger on and you know that it is that difference. And in all honesty, you do have that it factor. From that point on, I knew that you definitely destined to make a major difference in
Thank
the diaspora music industry. You quite welcome.
That.
Yeah, you're quite welcome. And you are doing that. So, new album coming out. Of course, art is not an easy thing to do, especially music. It's very expensive. How do you normally work your projects? Because you're still working as an independent artist,
Yes.
right? So let's now try to get into a bit of the logistics, and we're doing that from a perspective of giving hope to those who are pursuing probably the same thing but don't quite know how to get there,
Yeah.
right? So your when does the intention to come up with your first solo project or your first project come to you, and how do you manage to actually put it in motion?
I think the first step is that you have to believe in what you're doing. So before you even get into the because you can't get to the logistics step
Right.
if you don't have a true belief that what you're doing, that it's going to reach somebody. It may not reach everybody, but it's going to reach someone, and it's going to make a difference, for someone else's life.
Right.
And in order for it to do that, it has to make a difference in your life.
Right.
So you have to truly, truly believe what you're doing. Once you do that, then you can convince yourself to invest
Right.
in what you're doing.
Indeed.
You can't invest in it. It's not going to make sense to you.
Right.
You feel like you're wasting your time. And I still go through this. It's not
It's a process.
end point.
Yeah. It's a
But
process.
It's a process. So you believe in it.
Right.
Then you say, okay, because I believe in it, now I have to invest in it. And that means you're investing your time, because you have to spend a lot of time doing it, dedicated to it. You have to invest your money. And, there's this tug of war between, at least when you're in America.
Right.
Nigeria is different. People that are musicians.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, they don't do the day job,
Right.
night job thing.
Right. And I call that diaspora culture in America, because people don't understand that in the diaspora you can be an artist and have a different career, and sometimes not even be known for your career, be primarily known from your artistry or your music side, right?
But you have to pay bills here.
Indeed.
We have to pay monthly bills here.
Yeah. And keep a good living.
And keep a good living.
Right.
Nobody wants to be a struggling artist.
Indeed.
I never wanted to do that. I like nice things.
Yeah.
Okay. I love a nice home.
Yeah.
So it's an investment in the way that you're doing your day job.
Right.
That money is used to fund your real passion, what you really want to do. And then the time after the day job, you now have to invest your evening hours, your weekend hours.
Right.
It's hard work.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
Definitely.
It's a lot. But that's why I say it has to be, you can't do that unless you
committed to self.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Unless
indeed.
you think what you're doing is
quite
good.
Yeah, quite indeed. Because if I was to share my story, it would somewhat be similar to yours. I'll be very honest with you. A lot of people did not know that I did music until it actually came out on the newspaper. So an album that I worked on is nominated for a Cora. We neck to neck with P Square, going for $1 million.
Nice.
So that was, I believe, 2007 or 2008, right? So the Washington Post does a front page on the culture page story on me. And that's when people figure out that, oh, this guy does music. And all of a sudden, it's like, okay, how do you have enough time to be able to do what you do on your 9 to 5 and still be able to do music, right? And it is that. It's like, I mean, you got to invest on yourself. You got to believe in what you're doing. And it's got to be about the cause, not even about the people or the individual. It's got to be about the cause, the purpose, right?
That's very important.
Indeed.
Yeah, and then you build up your community.
Yeah.
It's hard to do this stuff alone.
Indeed. Yeah.
And as an introvert with extrovert
tendencies.
That's not always easy for me.
Yeah.
But Houston's been very good to me in the sense that I've met some good people here that have been partners with me, and you know, logistically, you just work it out. You find a studio space, you know, rehearsal space.
Yeah.
You build up your band if you work with a live band. All those things
and
come with time.
Yeah, and you the time when I saw you, you actually were working with a very good band, and you tend to work with the same band as Baba Tunde.
Some of the same
a lot of times, some of the same guys, right?
Yes,
and they pretty good.
Yeah.
They actually they're not pretty good. They're great.
They're very good.
Yeah, they definitely great. So that in itself talks about that networking portion that you were talking about. So are you currently already sitting with the band that you envision yourself as carrying at least the next couple of projects, or
Oh yeah. There's I have core members.
okay,
And then
you can mention some of them if you want to give them a shout out. Yeah, or if you want to keep it on the wrap so that there's no distractions, also you can do that. But
no.
Yeah.
I will so specifically I'll talk about the Follow single and that whole album.
Yeah.
The band that I worked with, amazing. So my keyboard player and MD, his name is Sam.
Okay.
Sam Rich on his Instagram.
Yeah, MD, music director, for those people
Yes.
that don't know the acronyms. Yeah.
Music director, arrangements.
Yeah.
You know, all of that. Very good musician.
Co-producer, basically.
Basically.
Yeah.
Very, very good musician. I would say the best in Houston.
Okay.
People don't know that.
Yeah.
But and then he works closely, and I work closely as well with a guitarist called Mike.
Okay.
Mike Lash. Very, very good musicians. These are how do I even put it? They're not nothing against church musicians,
Right.
because you see that a lot in Houston.
Yeah.
These are not your everyday church musicians.
Yeah.
These are people that know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're experts.
No, they real good musicians, because I know the two guys that you're talking about,
Yeah.
and I heard them play,
Yeah.
and the one accolade that I can give to at least just the two that you mentioned, but I will talk about that band in general, is you know that you got great people doing something when they make it look easy.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
These guys, they come in, they sit down and look at you, and you tell them, okay, we're going to do such and such, and they will ask you for a key, and it's
And you'd
rocked
be
on.
like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Kind of like, you know, like they knew,
Yeah.
right? Like they, and could be maybe even the first time they're experiencing. That's mastering the craft. And we have those guys here. These are the guys that, in all honesty, we also should be showcasing on a daily basis, because in they creating a not only a standard of what our diaspora musicianship is, but they definitely are becoming masters of the craft.
Yeah.
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 And so you were at Mike talking about
so
your
Mike,
band.
I have to shout out Josh. Josh is a drummer that I've worked with here in Houston, who, you know, with bands, often it's hard to find loyalty,
Right.
because, you know, who says you only have to work with me?
Right.
You can, there's so many people that call themselves singers.
Yeah.
You can go and get a check anywhere.
Right.
You know, but I've been lucky when I was gigging a lot more pre-pandemic. I was lucky to come across Josh, because he is a good drummer.
Yeah.
And he is down no matter what.
There you go.
And sometimes even more than that expert level is consistency.
Right.
It's very important.
Always on that. Always on point.
Always on point. Always on point. And I know him through a good friend of mine, Yemi.
Okay.
We're namesakes. My name is Yemi also.
Right.
He's a very good drummer as well and a good friend, always down.
Yeah.
So he worked on this album. And then bass player, this was my first time really, really working with a guy named Jerry. He's an amazing bass player as well. And this was our first kind of extended time working together. Yeah. So gotta shout all those people out.
No, definitely a good thing. Now you have visuals, of course, and some getting those visuals together, and who do you normally use, or how do you even go about it? Do you normally do your synopsis and you send it to a director, or you sit down with the director initially? Kind of give us a bit of that.
So it's been both. I'll shout out to. They played different roles, but they were instrumental in getting the visuals out for two of my projects. So Zainab and Matthew, well known in the Houston community. They document a lot of what happens within our culture here. They worked on that Dreams video, and it was such a collaborative effort. I appreciated them for really taking my vision and expanding it, not changing it, but just enhancing it. They did an awesome job of bringing that video to life. And then this project was shot at a place called Piano Room 5, Greg Heja. I am so lucky because I am the only artist that has been able to shoot in this place.
Oh, wow.
Ever since I started going and posting videos, even before we recorded the project, people would hit me up, where is that? Right. Where is that? That looks so cool. And I have literally been the only person to shoot a project like that before he had to shut it down.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean...
So the place is now shut down?
Not functioning.
Not functioning, okay.
At least where it was.
Oh, got you.
That particular location is no longer...
Now, is that... is that a pandemic reasoning, or
maybe I can't say for sure.
Got you. Okay.
But yeah.
And I ask just because sometimes to actually let the community know those kind of things, it will help us to even see if there are any efforts to probably bring it back, because those are gems that are necessary in every community, right?
Yeah. So that space, and creating the visual for that space was a fun project for me, because it was a blank, not really a blank slate in a way, but I could bring whatever I wanted.
Got you.
There.
Yeah.
So envisioning it, looking up Pinterest, looking up videos that from artists that I like, and then bringing that to life along with working with him in the space. It was awesome.
Okay, yeah. And that's the director, right? So let's. I kind of want to now get into something a little bit lighter, but maybe heavier. Maybe we'll take another break for to show another one of your visuals. Yeah. What do you want to show this time?
Good question. What should we show?
Yeah. We haven't seen you yet performing live, so having if you have a live show, a clip of you performing live would probably be a good idea. Yeah.
I would say I have a clip on my YouTube of me performing at Kobo Studios, singing some of the covers that I like to sing. So maybe we'll do that.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and get that, because we're trying to make sure that we justifying what we accolading here. Although we don't have to, because the audience, of course, they already know. So let's go ahead and go into this quick break of and as we take a look at some visuals of Lolade right here on Diaspora Central with Gil Ingles, singer, songwriter, producer, and psychologist. We'll be right back.
Story. Time. Story. ọjọ́ ti pẹ́ tá ti mọ́ra wa mo nífẹ̀ẹ́ tó bá gangan. Remember the time we used to run free like a bird into Neverland. Má bọ́jà lọ, jẹ́ ká lọ. Má bọ́jà lọ, jẹ́ ká lọ.
back. If you have just joined us, you're now tuned into Diaspora Central with Gil Ingles, and our guest today is Lolade. Yes, that voice. Yes, that writer. Yes, that soulful diva. Yes, that Afro-Soul singer. Lolade.
Yes.
It's
been fun being here.
Yeah, thank you. Mm-hmm. Thank you. Any questions for me? I'm kidding. But you can ask if you have some.
How do you manage to? No,
yeah. I just thought that if I caught you off guard, you definitely would have no questions.
Oh, I can ask questions.
Yeah. No, if you have questions, you can always ask me questions. I'll be more than glad to answer. I like to have conversations, not interrogations. Yeah. But one of the lovely things about musicianship, and one of the blessings, and I consider that a blessing for you, because even as you mentioned, you being the only one to be able to shoot a video at Piano Room 5, right? You said you're lucky, and I say it's not really just luck, it's really a blessing and a responsibility, because yet you're carrying forward a legacy, right, that needs to live on, and a lot of times God will put that on our shoulders so that we're able to carry it through, because he has to find the responsible shoulders that are able to carry it through. And I say responsible shoulders because, as we all know, of course, today popular music tends to be more about showing your body here and there, and nothing to do with the actual ability of either writing, being vocal, or showcasing musicianship. Right. But you have remained true to the musicianship. Yeah, not an easy task, because you're competing with what I call loud visuals,
yes.
Right? Distractions.
Yeah.
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 You're competing with loud distractions. So if a person does not really have the patience to listen and understand what they're hearing, it may even just go by them, because there's a lot of distractions out there.
Yep.
There are a lot of distractions out there.
Yeah.
Was that a conscious decision on your part? Because, I mean, you're very pretty, you're very beautiful. You could have probably just gotten as loud as some of the loudest ones out there. So was that a conscious decision on your part, or?
Absolutely not. No.
Okay.
I think it's just a part of knowing your lane. Whatever comes natural to me is what I do.
There you go.
I'm not trying to be anybody else.
Right.
I'm not trying to do, because you can't maintain.
Yeah.
When you lie, you got to maintain that lie. And I do not have the energy. I don't have the energy for it. So it's knowing your lane and knowing that whatever it is that you do, there's a market.
There you go. Believing in your product.
That's it. It goes back to that.
Yeah.
There's a market for it. So people will try, I can't tell you enough how much and how many people, will tell you, you got to do it this way. No, you got to do it this way. And after a while, that affected me, starting off. But after a while, you have to kind of just make a decision in your mind that, it's not a decision that, I am going to, not do sexy videos or whatever. It's a decision that I'm going to do what I want to do.
Right.
And then if you like it, great.
Exactly. And that also helps you create that core audience, right? The ones that will stick and stand by you regardless of what it is happening, because they understand what you're putting out there. Yeah. Yeah.
So it's not I think people confuse it. They see and hear my music, and they see that it's not overly loud, like you say, and they do think it's like intentional, that I'm trying to send some message. And I always say I don't like I don't like messages.
There you
I know
go.
that sounds crazy. You know, it
Yeah.
might sound weird, but I'm not here to send any message to
There you go.
anyone. I'm here to make music.
You. Yeah.
I'm here to, like, whatever
That's-
message, it's like artwork.
Yeah.
Whatever message you get from it, that's what you're supposed to
Right.
get.
Your interpretation is your interpretation.
Exactly.
Because you know your purpose, and your purpose is what was put out there.
And if I decide to show some skin
Right.
in a video,
Yeah.
don't at me.
Uh-oh. Careful now.
Because that's what I was feeling at the time.
Yeah. Careful now, because you know that, because I'm gonna tell you right now, fellas, actually, they definitely gonna ask me, because that's a question that always pops up every time I have a pretty lady in an interview, and sometimes ladies also will tap me every time I have a pretty guy in an interview. It's like, okay, so what's her status? What are you married? Are you in a relationship? What exactly is Lolade's situation?
Oh, you ask
Yeah.
me straight out. Huh?
We don't. This is Diaspora Central. We we showcase the community. We arrange
More ways
marriages.
than one.
We arrange marriages here. We
Oh.
don't play around.
Listen, I am not against arranged marriage.
Yeah.
No, I'm single. I'm
Mm-hmm.
newly-ish single,
Okay.
but very single.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so
So very. So fellas, you heard. She's very
here
single,
first.
available. So what are some of the requirements that Lolade would have for, let's say,
Hey,
that individual?
requirements. That's a strong word.
Well, let's say what are some of those things then, the deal breakers that Lolade would not take on that individual?
Integrity is very important. To me.
Integrity. So it's gotta be, if it is a one, it's a one.
Your word
So Lolade is nothing but one and zeros. It's either or not.
is either
No,
A
yeah,
or B.
no grays in there.
No grays. I mean, there are grays in life.
Mm-hmm.
So if there are grays, we talk about those grays,
There you
but
go.
it's just being upfront with whatever it is.
There you go. So
Being upfront.
So definitely gotta be an assertive, an integral, organic individual, and a good communicator, because he's gotta be able to talk the gray lines that
Yeah.
may come up.
So here's the thing with my African brothers.
Mhm.
I love
Uh-oh.
them. and I date pretty much exclusively Africans, not even just Nigerians, but I
Yeah.
love, there's something about
So
being with.
so regardless of what region, it does not matter.
Doesn't matter.
It's just okay. So what we talking about? Tall, short.
I mean, taller than me. For
Yeah,
sure. I'm
taller
for
than
sure.
you. Okay. How tall are you?
No, I'm 5'1". Look, I'm
You
short.
all right. So anyone above 5'1" is good.
Okay. Yes.
Then
Ish.
yeah, yeah, 5'5"
You don't have to be 6 feet.
and up. Yeah, so 5'5" and up. But it's gotta have enough so that when you put in the heels,
that I'm not
right?
taller.
Yeah, you're not taller than him. Okay.
Well, I mean, that's not important.
No?
This
No,
height
you sure?
is not important. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure. Height is not important to me.
The
Like I
se-
said,
okay, the sensitivity level of the individual.
that's what I was getting to. So I like an alpha male. I like, my African brothers. But one area that they are lacking is that emotional intelligence, like emotional sensitivity.
You know they're not. Look, now you're starting a whole different
I'm
show.
just saying, it is a common.
You are starting a whole different show, because when you start talking about emotional intelligence, that's a topic in itself. Because I'll tell you right now, that's ground that it's being broken, and people are still trying to understand exactly.
understand.
Yeah, but it's gotta be emotionally cohesive or somewhat solid. Yeah.
Meaning you can't ignore your emotions, thinking that makes you stronger. It doesn't. It actually makes you weaker.
There you go.
To acknowledge your emotions, to be open to talking about things, to not be afraid to have some kind of conflict.
Right.
All of that makes you stronger. But I think African men look at it as a weakness.
Yeah.
And
not quite.
it's not effective in a relationship.
It's just
It might be effective in your
business,
hustle,
maybe.
your business.
Yeah.
That's how you get ahead. But if you're dealing with a woman, you have some of those walls have to come down.
Yeah, you need the head-on collision.
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually.
And not be afraid of, like, nobody is, at least me, I'll speak for myself. I'm not a fighter. Like,
Right.
conflict doesn't mean fight to
Right.
me.
Right. It's just
Conflict, it's like a pause. Like, okay, how are we going to deal with this? You talk about it, you move on.
Right.
Avoiding it does not help.
yeah. So understanding and processing it through.
Processing.
All right.
You got it.
Okay. So that's a good thing, and that kind of leaves a big range. Now, age.
We get into details.
I told you we arrange marriages here.
Arranging marriages. I came here to find my husband today. I didn't know I was coming.
Look,
An introduction.
People are gonna start dodging Diaspora Central. Be like, oh no. Out there, they'll find you a partner.
Age doesn't matter. You know, these things are very superficial.
Can be older, can be younger, as long as he's solid emotionally, and he definitely values as a spiritual life. Okay, so he's got to be spiritually bound.
Spiritually bound. I am a Christian.
Yeah.
I would say I'm a non-traditional Christian.
Okay.
Meaning I have, lots of views. I'm not a religious and churchy person.
So you would have been okay. And that's just to I guess understand. So you would have been okay to marry someone of another religion, let's say.
I'll put it this way: I would prefer. It's a lot easier to marry someone within your same religion, just because of logistics.
Got you.
Rituals, family life, all of that stuff is very. It's easier.
Got you.
But what I don't want is somebody that's overly religious and judgmental, and ritualistic, and all that.
No. Too much. Too much. All right. So now that is a good thing. So let's talk about other things. What exactly does Lolade have coming up? What is new Lolade? What's happening? What's about to come up? We're about to close it up.
Yes, we are pushing this single.
Yeah.
I'm so happy with how it's been doing. I'm happy with just the reception overall. It's been amazing.
Yeah.
We'll drop another one coming up soon. There's another beautiful song on the way.
Already on the works? Now, is it gonna be also audio and video?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yes, it's part of the same project. The project is a visual album.
Got you.
So that's on the way. And I have some, I don't know if I want to talk about that yet.
Okay.
So that's on the way. And then the album is called Stories.
Okay.
It's live from Piano Room 5, Stories. Okay. That will be dropping in the summertime, and that's going to have some extra songs on it. So, yeah, I'm excited about that. I'm excited about this year and what all that's going to look like. Nice.
Lolade, thank you for being here. If you don't have any questions for me, listen, I will just thank you for being here.
I just want to thank you. Thank you for having me here, for asking the type of questions that you asked.
Thank you.
They're not standard interview questions. They made me think a lot about my journey, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you. No, it's definitely our pleasure, because our purpose is nothing but to showcase diaspora culture and talent. And as a member of the diaspora, you definitely have that culture in place and the talent. We didn't touch a lot on fashion, but you kind of described a little bit on it. But we're still coming, right? As an ambassador of Africa in the diaspora, one of the things that you would say that at all times you would have probably from Africa, what would that be?
Things as far as fashion is?
Either fashion or food or culture, anything.
Oh.
Yeah.
Outside of my Afrobeats music, I gotta have
Afrobeats.
I gotta have my music. Yeah. I gotta have my Afrobeats. Maybe food. I eat Nigerian food pretty much every day.
Yeah. What's your favorite dish?
That's hard to choose.
Okay.
Between fried plantain, I can eat that morning, noon, and night.
Okay.
And there's something very local to Obumasho, where I was born.
Okay.
It's amala and ewedu. It's a type of swallow.
Okay.
And the soup is jute leaf.
Okay.
That jaws like okra.
Like okra, right? Yeah.
Those two together, I'm good.
That's it. Wow. All right.
Coma.
So, I'll see. Maybe the next time you make that dish, you invite Diaspora Central to come and join you, and we can taste that food, right?
I would be happy to.
Well, we will definitely try. But one of the key things that we want to take from this interview is the one thing that we have consistently hit on, and that is the belief in self and the investment in self. Because remember, unless you believe and you invest in yourself, no one else will. So until next time, thank you for joining us.